Our first opponents are going to be Force and probably Fnatic or DarkZero. It's a good group, mostly Fnatic and Force. Force it's not in Pro League, but they showed like us to be a really strong team. They play just like they have the same play style as Empire, so it's going to be a tough game for us. And Fnatic and DarkZero are both good teams, and we need to watch out to play against them. So yeah, they're a good 3 teams.
I'd say our only weakness at the moment would be small decision-making ones or just personal mistakes, which are still very easy to fix, and even small mistake from any player can cost rounds. There's no one in our group that really scares us. I think that Force is a bit of a dark horse in this tournament, but we're not afraid of anyone, and we can back ourselves to beat anyone here.
Of course, we can win every team in this tournament, but it will be really hard for us. The most dangerous team in our group, I think, is DarkZero.
To prepare for the major, we kind of just refined a lot of our strategies. We kind of simplified things. Instead of having just like a bunch of strategies as we've had in the past, we've mastered a lot of like simple strategies, but we definitely still have some things up our sleeve that we're ready to show. To the group stage opponents, just don't underestimate us. We're definitely going to be swinging. I know we haven't showed any results at a LAN recently, but we're definitely ready to show what we have.
There you hear it. The teams can tell you better than we can in regards to what they think. And, well, it's a tough group. Everybody looks at Group C as the group of death, but I think Group D could possibly vie for that title as well. Forts comes in as the dark horse, a lot of teams are saying. They have a lot of potential, a huge upside, but they've got 3 Titans that they're going to have to go through if they want to be able to get out of this group.
Yeah, and I've heard much the same about Forz as what Cameraman was saying, is that they're kind of similar to Empire in how they play, especially after they picked up Shockwave. That really changed their play style. But those are not the teams we have here for you. Well, that's not the team we have here for you now. It's going to be, again, Fnatic versus DarkZero. These are 2 really strong individual teams, and we'll start going through the rosters, beginning with Fnatic. Of course, they play in APAC and in the ANZ Pro League, and as you can see, they've got some really good performance stats for that region.
Yeah, they've always sat atop the ANZ region. They've had some competition for a period of time. We go all the way back to when there was Corvidae, and then the new Mind Freak, since they used to be the old Mind Freak, and then Athletico, which is now Orglis ANZ. But still, Fnatic has always been a consistency when you look at the region, and they competed with Norarengo for a period of time, but I think a lot of people look at Norarengo and think that with the loss of Waka, the addition of Yoshingo, you still have a maybe weaker team. But then you look at Cyclops as a team that has a lot of potential upside, and even though they had a disappointing result against G2 today, you still know that Cyclops have that potential.
Yeah. I got to be honest, Cyclops, if we're going to take a quick aside, is just, you know, they need the experience. They'll get it, and they got it, and they still have a chance to keep pushing in this LAN. But here and now, DarkZero, the opponents of Fnatic, they are statistically one of the best teams in overall in the world as well. As you can see, the stats are a little bit lower, but this is North American Pro League. It's a little bit different, of course, and yeah, I mean, they've been really evenly split on their performances, but as you can see, Hyper, a little bit of a standout there, and he has been coming onto this roster very strong. I think he's been a big pushing force for DarkZero.
Some people that were a little bit skeptical of the roster moves that were made with Mojo Man coming off of this roster, and then having BC step on as BC was coaching alongside Bacon, and then, of course, dropping Jarvis to pick up Hyper, because this squad, affectionately known as the Goobs for quite a while, they have a long history through a number of different organizations. They've maintained a very similar core over the years. They picked up Hyper, they added Nyx to the roster a couple seasons ago, BC stepped on out of his coaching role, and since then this team has done very well. Yeah. They fell short of Empire at Milan. They are currently sitting atop North American Pro League in a hot contest with Reciprocity. And I think the sky is the limit for the DarkZero roster. As Hyper's been able to get more and more comfortable with the team, I think their stock will continue to rise. It might be the greatest potential that we've seen on this team, and of course DarkZero as an organization has flown out their support staff. They're here to help out the team. Got their hands full against Fnatic, and of course with the map veto going on your screen, we'll see the battleground start on Bank. It's a very favorable matchup for DarkZero.
Yep.
They almost defeated Empire on it in Milan just a couple months ago. They're going to be comfortable there. A counterpunch by Fnatic on Consulate, with Clubhouse being our decider.
So, Bank definitely favoring DarkZero overall. DarkZero have banned it twice total in recent history, and they've won it 3 times. No draws and 1 loss on Bank. Fnatic, on the other hand, they've banned it 5 times, and they've lost it once. Consulate, which is going to be Fnatic's pick, is actually a bit of an even match overall. I mean, both teams have won it twice and lost it once in recent history, and DarkZero's banned it a few more times, but overall, you know, Consulate's an even match. You get to the last map, and that is Fnatic's map. That's Clubhouse right there, and they just win it. They haven't never banned it. Well, they haven't banned it, again, recently, and they've won it 8 times. Really comfortable there. DarkZero, on the other hand, a little bit of a mixed record with Clubhouse, as they won it once, drawn it once, and lost on it once, and banned it 3 times. So, we're starting here on Bank, and we're just going to go ahead and load right in. DarkZero on defense, Fnatic on attack, which means DarkZero will start with the bans.
Fascinated to see here what's going to change or not. Now, Echo is usually the most banned defender, but one thing worth noting is the current build that we're playing on has actually reverted the changes to Echo's Shimmer on his Yokai, which means that it's not as invisible as it has been over the last couple months. Because of this, there might be a small effect with Echo. You might see him maybe get banned a little bit less frequently, just because it is easier to see those yokai. You don't necessarily need the IQ all the time. You don't necessarily need the Thatcher the same, as you can just simply do an eye test. But it's not going to matter much in this matchup, because obviously Fnatic doesn't want to deal with him at all. And he's still an extraordinarily powerful operator who maintains a very high ban rate, whether it's invisible or not. Mira will join him alongside Hibana and Capitao. And of course, Hibana being banned on Bank is not too weird. We're going to see a Thermite and probably a Maverick for most of the attacks onto the basement, maybe a Maverick up top or on the main floor, but that often falls to team decision.
So we're probably going to see Echo and Mira banned throughout this entire matchup through all the maps because, well, Fnatic is one of those teams that just doesn't let Echo get played. They've been, recent history, they banned it 16 times. That's a ridiculous amount. They barely ban anything other than Echo, and if it's not Echo, it's usually Mira. So we'll probably be seeing mostly Echo and Mira throughout this match, as it's DarkZero who bans out Mira more often than anything else. So, and if they don't ban Mira, they ban Echo. So both of these teams are the same mentality when it comes to the defensive bans. So we'll probably see the same ones, whether it's DarkZero banning Echo or Mira, or, you know, Fnatic, the same thing. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to see either of those operators played likely throughout this match. Capitao and Hibana, a little bit of a different story. DarkZero has a kind of a diverse attacking ban phase, but on the other side, Fnatic, they ban Capitao just as much as a lot of the other APAC teams. Like, for example, we're looking at Cyclops. They tend to ban nothing but Capitao. Well, it's kind of the same thing here for Fnatic. They get rid of that operator. They just don't like it.
Capitao's in a very, very strong place right now. He's got great utility. It works better than a lot of other operators that fill that same niche. You know, without a Capitao, you might look at possibly running a Gridlock, maybe run a Nomad, maybe run a Dokkaebi in place, maybe a Jackal. They all can often rotate or cycle through that role. Here on Bank, there's a lot of flexibility with what you can bring. You're going to need 1 to 2 hard breachers no matter what. You're going to bring a Thatcher for a variety of reasons if you have to deal with a Kaid. Even though you don't necessarily need a Thatcher, you're going to have a Maverick who should be able to fight through any breach denial that comes out. In this case, DarkZero is foregoing the Kaid, so you don't have to necessarily worry about Thatcher getting those drop-down hatches. But there's shields that get brought an awful lot. And I'm glad that we're looking and riding on board with Magnet, because he's 6-picked off of the Nomad into the Montaigne. If there's a team that is familiar with dealing with shields, it's going to be DarkZero. And if Fnatic are going to use Montaigne the same way, well, DZ will very likely know how to take care of it.
Now, of course, it's never fun to deal with Montaigne. It's a difficult operator to counter, but there's some good counter utility on the side of DarkZero. Got a lot of C4s in hand, and those will chip away at the Montaigne shield. And you've also got the gas canisters from the smoke. No Legion being brought here, but that's not essential. Echo, of course, banned by Fnatic, so he's not going to be an option. Surprised there's no Ela. Ela would also be a good counter for Montaigne. He does force the shield, or does force the shield down when you get hit by the Guzmat. It's going to be exothermic charge, actually used on what appeared to be the elevator drop down, if I'm not mistaken, which is an interesting use of that hard breach utility. Of course, there is the Maverick in play, but that's still limited with Hibana being banned. And Fnatic are going for a very different strategy than what we're used to seeing on this site.
Trying to test Hyper's patience as he plays at the bottom of the stairs with the thermic charge of Thermite possibly gonna
They're just in.
Inches away, but no, it's gonna be a push over towards lockers, and BC's gonna see at least one heartbeat as you have the statue of the Montaigne there. You got one body playing behind it from Fnatic, so BC will need to make this shot count. He can't do it, and he'll have to get away as quickly as he can. DarkZero now well aware of where the push is coming from. Magnet's gonna breathe in a couple of those toxic fumes. DZ now walks on up. They're in trouble because 45 seconds left and all of Fnatic have taken up place inside of the vault. They'll continue to move forward and they've got great coverage. DZ is boxed out for the time being and slowly but surely both teams getting chipped away with. It's Fnatic though who's losing more in the long run. 30 seconds to go. Plant denial goes out, C4 misses, Nick's a little too far back. Hyper engaged in a fight against Aces, and right now it's Fnatic stalling. So they were able to take control so quickly. A smoke will go out from the Montaigne, a little bit of cover maybe, possibly. Hot and cold, peeking out, can't find anything. Aces gets the first kill. It comes with 15 seconds left. So all of DZ trying to salvage something. Two bodies down, Hot and cold just laying in. It's Mint to join into the fight as Virtue gets one and it's an absolute mess. A slaughter on both sides. You'll have to get the plant down and it's Magnet with Virtue covering, but Hot and cold can stop it here. He walks in and he'll pull out the Bailiff for good measure. It was quick entry from Fnatic, but that'll be it as DarkZero rebounds very effectively, and the round is theirs for the taking.
I really have to hand it to DarkZero for not panicking as soon as they lost control of the vault, because a lot of teams would probably just attempt to rush into that take from Fnatic. A lot of teams would say, oh, we're losing vault, and then they would get torn apart, probably by Virtue, who's playing behind the Montaigne shield. So I really got to hand it to DarkZero. That was a really well-calculated and held defense of the bottom floor. I also want to give some credit to Fnatic, though, because that strategy was actually really nice. I like what they were doing there. There's one thing that really stands out to me is the clear of the Montaigne and Virtue behind. First of all, they were very cautious on that clear. But second of all, the ultimate goal of that push was to have Montaigne and Virtue behind, holding on to the red hallway. You could see the strategy thanks to the top-down view from Marcio, thank you. And it was beautifully put together by Fnatic, where they cut off the rotation red, so if anyone's playing by server or in the other site, then there's no retake potential, because Virtue's going to mow them down as they attempt to cross through the red hallway. And then the rest of Fnatic then should push in from the main stairs, from the elevator drop that was opened up, into the site and plant in lockers. At least that's the strategy. That's the plan from Fnatic. It didn't work out. Yeah. DarkZero, again, did not panic, and they won their gunfights. They did a really great job of retaking that.
Yeah. There was ice in their veins.
Yeah, no, it was really very well calculated.
And they held on to their plant denial. You didn't see a C4 go out until, 30 seconds left? Then you saw the toxic canisters go out as well. They held on. And after BC was able to escape red, somehow, despite the fact that Aces and Monty had pushed up as far as they did, BC gets away, goes right back on the sensor, and starts pinging where everybody is. And Fnatic didn't know where to go. Their Maverick got boxed into the elevator, couldn't get out because there's an Alda holding down that entire hallway. You also had, Aces on the stairs. It was the Thatcher, rather, that was inside a vault. Couldn't do anything. Played very effectively, and they didn't have control. Fnatic did not have control of lockers, and because of that, they couldn't do all that much. All the soft wall between the sites leading into red was destroyed, and DZ had the coverage they needed. Really well played from both teams, if you look at it, but ultimately the clock ran out on Fnatic.
And I just got to say, that one round alone, I think it's giving us a small taste of what to expect through this match. And it definitely, well, it tastes good. It looks fantastic. I'm definitely looking forward to the rest and seeing how it all is going to play out. Right now, we're just working through some small technical difficulties, and once we get those sorted, we'll get right back underway. But that was definitely, again, so much to pick apart from just one single round. I got to hand it to BC, especially, who was playing in the Gold Vault, for making it out of there without being punished by Virtue or Magnet, the Montaigne, and the Thatcher, who were clearing into Vault itself. So, and I mean, just so many people who played that really excellent on both sides. So, we're actually going to get into it. It's round 2 now, and we will be going to Teller's Office Archive. So this is actually an older school of thought. A lot of teams these days, they'll go basement, then CEO, or CEO, then basement. Either way. But this is looking back a little bit here. It used to be the case that Teller's was the primary site for some, secondary for others, and then you would have your basement as, you know, the same. And, well, DarkZero seem to be in that same mindset now. And again, that's looking pretty far back. Looks like it's going to be heavy roam upstairs. No Mira, because DarkZero banned her. When roaming on the top floor, Mira is a very important tool, and not having her is definitely going to make it a little bit more difficult, but of course, DZ have planned for that.
Good use of the 6-pick as well by Fnatic, as they had, was it Magnet, once again, on the Montaigne, 6-picked off into Azofia. So for DarkZero, they might be suspecting that there's going to be a shield on the board. Rizraz showed the IQ, and of course DarkZero's 6-pick went onto Hyper, onto the Valkyrie. So those Valkyrie cameras could get spotted quite effectively if Rizraz uses his gadget appropriately.
And I'm sure he will.
I have no doubt. And the Valkyrie will be spotted as long as there's any drone work that's done. And here goes one of the default cams as Rizraz will continue to go. You hear one of the drones from Fnatic, no longer part of their army, as will join the drone army of DarkZero, hot and cold, snagging a piece of intel from the attackers. And while we don't see a lot of drones get captured by Mozzie's, a lot of times his pest will act as a deterrent or area denial.
Yeah.
In this case, not only area denial, but you've also got a very valuable piece of intel that you can maneuver around the map, and it'll help. Once again, they'll rely on Rizraz or Virtue to possibly take that drone out of action that the defenders now have access to.
Good information on the side of DarkZero. They have 4, well, 5, actually every single one of the operators on DarkZero is actually an info op, now that I think about it, which is pretty incredible. So, DZ favoring knowing what the heck they're up against, and Fnatic looking to clear out on the top floor. Aces is heading up this clear, and I think it's because he's just been told that there's somebody inside of the top floor elevator. That's Hyper, who has just fallen down. He had the drop down open, and he's going to retreat as soon as he's droned out. Smart play from Hyper. Nyx has somehow lost some HP early on here. Must have been maybe peeking into the main lobby and gotten punished by Rizraz. At least that's the most likely outcome or result.
Bomb located by attackers.
Oh, wrong lifeline there used by Magnet to try and take out the Evil Eye. He'll waste one, or he was just trying to clear out the ADS that potentially could have been there. It's going to be the first kill, though, for Fnatic as they take down Hot and Cold.
And Nyx had taken a lot of damage very early on as he retreated, and this second floor is now fully in control of Fnatic, and they will continue to keep that ball rolling. What little was left of Nyx is now gone, so the Maestro off the board. Counterpunch there as Hyper takes out Virtue, and he heads back in deeper in towards the site as a Goo Mine will not just assist BC, but the other members of DarkZero. Rizraz finds Hyper, though, and this is going to be daunting as Mint is far away. He's in trouble. That's a good shot from BC. He sees, whoa, what a shot from BC. He knows he's got another nearby as he heads for the hills, and he'll be inside of the elevator. Very well protected, playing this angle. Out comes Mint, and he sees the gun stock, pulls out the pistol, can out-duel Magnet. He'll take a chunk of HP off, but it's all up to BC to get yet another kill. Magnet has the diffuser in hand. He's going to go for a plant. Is there intel in the site? That's the only question. Magnet should be able to pull this one off, and he'll do so successfully. Going down and not losing any HP in the process. This will just be a simple 1v1, and Magnet doesn't lose those. Very low on HP, but BC can't do much at all. He's just simply out of range. Well, it's Magnet who wins it. They'll equalize 1-1 apiece.
Bad calculation on that peak. Well, bad decision-making, I guess, on that peak from BC in the middle of a reload. Bad timing. It was a really nice clutch there from Magnet. Close one. Really close one. BC almost brought that round back, and Mint, I think, panicking a little bit. He brought out the heartbeat detector. That must have been a fat finger. But if not, then, yeah, pure panic. So a couple mistakes there from DZ, and they weren't able to take the round. But honestly, the way that was shaping up, it should have been a Fnatic round through and through. So it really comes down to Fnatic, I think, choking in a few key situations as well, as they had full control of the round for the majority of it. A lot of that comes down to how efficiently and well they cleared out the top floor. Great information gathering thanks to the droners on the side of Fnatic upstairs, and then the clear was right behind those drones and right behind the information gather. So they used that vertical pressure then to pick off a few players on DarkZero, and then once the site take came out, Fnatic was in the driver's seat. They hiccuped a little bit. They gave BC a good opportunity to get some kills, and it almost went the way of DZ, but yeah, Fnatic should have had that, and they did get it. And now we're at 1-1. It's going to be CEO next here for DarkZero. They don't want to try Tellers again.
CEO is usually where most teams go second site. So
yeah, these days.
It was not odd to see the main floor site, but just more of a...
It's an older...
It's not as commonplace as it used to be.
Yeah.
So you go upstairs to CEO, and you have a lot of options at your disposal. You can impact trick the walls. What is impact tricking? Well, it's when you throw an impact grenade. As you can see, Nick's priming himself, ready to do. Throws an impact grenade right there, and it blows up the exothermic charge or the X-Kairos on the other side of the wall. There you go. Should you find them go, there will be, of course, no X-Kairos whatsoever in this matchup because DarkZero banned Hibana. So if you want to be able to negate impact tricking, you're going to likely need a Maverick, but Maverick doesn't really show up all that much on any site except for the basement site. And since the basement site is locked, you know as Fnatic, you don't have to go back down there until round 4. So where are you going to go? Well, you just bring out Thermite. That's all you really need here. Additionally, CEO can be played very aggressively. You can keep a body down in lobby. If Echo is unbanned, you can put a yokai drone somewhere nearby. You often see bulletproof cameras go up on the windows of Banana leading out onto the balcony that will look into the main lobby. You can put a Valkyrie camera up there as well. You can put a Maestro camera up there. There's a lot of tools for the defenders, and because CEO is so flexible, it makes the attackers have to play it based around the way the defenders have it set up. Even teams like Empire will make adaptations when they usually attack the same way because of just the nature of this site. For the time being, Fnatic is spread out quite a little bit. I don't know if that was...
Nope. No, he was trying to get the castle.
I think he was trying to get the castle and he just simply missed. So that's some utility that's gone, and that's going to be good for DarkZero because Nyx's bulletproof barricade is going to stay up for the time being.
So an attempted impact and a failed impact from Nyx as he's gonna have to fall back. Aces gets the wall open, and he even has a little bit of cover for himself because of a very well strategically placed exothermic charge.
It's hot and cold in the middle of the hallway now, able to gun down anybody with an Alda. That's a powerful gun to be playing there. Ace is looking to see if there's a rotate inside of Paper, and there isn't, or Stock or Janitor, however you want to call it.
Mint is playing Paper right now. He's waiting for a push. This is a perfect operator to have there. Smoke. He's also got an angle through the CEO wall that was actually pre-opened by the defense. Hot and Cold is playing in the Soda hallway, which is dangerous, but in a different setup here from DZ. 2 early kills in the engagement. Well, 3 actually, as Lusty comes in from Stock, and well, he's going to get a 3rd for himself in the 4th of the round. Nyx gets 1 down on the floor, and that's great for him, but can he get 4 more is the question. The answer, no. Lusty will get 4, though, and a flawless round for Fnatic. As they take the clear upstairs, it's seemingly Fnatic dominant on the top 2 floors right now.
Lusty making most of that work on his own as well.
Yeah.
Enters on in through trading, continues to move forward, finds Hot and Cold, and then by then the ball is just speeding down the hill. You're not going to stop it, no matter who you are on DarkZero. Having a UMP be the very final weapon in a 1vx is just not a favorable situation for the defenders, especially when you've got a C7E on the board, especially when you've got Zophia's AR on the board, especially when you've got any of IQ's guns on the board, be it a Commando, be it the AUG, be it the LMG. There's so much that you can possibly do. Now, with both Tellers and CEO being a failure for DZ on defense, they're going to go back down to all reliable CCTV, and that's why you see the 6th pick come out onto the Maverick of Magnet. He's been the 6th pick so far through most of the game. It was a Monty before, but in this case, Fnatic are going to run a Jackal. Now, I mentioned that Jackal can fill the void that you would usually have a Capitao fill, or if Capitao is banned, then you can possibly have a Zofia go in there, you can have a Jackal, you can have a Gridlock. There's a lot of flexibility in that spot if Capitao is off of the board. Ying used to occupy that role. Glaz used to occupy that role, even though both of them have seen their pick rate drop very hard.
10 seconds
Plummet
remaining.
even.
I would say that is a correct word for it. In this case, Fnatic is going to likely go, I would guess, for an A take. I don't think we're going to see a B take from them. And because of this, DZ's setup is going to be probably very similar to what we saw in round number 1.
Yeah, I mean, you expect it to be a CCTV that the attackers will primarily attack, and yeah, it looks like that's the case right now from Fnatic. They haven't brought the Montaigne, of course, as you say, so probably won't be that off strategy we saw at the beginning. Interesting, like, what was a good strategy from Fnatic? It can be easily predicted now that it's been used. It's a shame for them that it did not work out. That's... I'm not sure. He placed it and then picked one up. Not sure what his intention was there, but it was interesting to watch. He will cut off rotation at the top of main stairs, well, the middle of main stairs. That will deny anyone coming up from the basement.
Fnatic have been very quick to assess and take map control. On a map as big as Bank, you really, really need to be able to take it quickly. And in this case, well, it needs to be very utility heavy and you need to be as quick to the punch as you can be. Because of this, it's being played very well from Fnatic. These are two innovative teams. They're likely going to do things that you're not used to seeing. But this is pretty common from both Magnet and Mint's perspective. You've got the Maverick taking the hatches inside of admin area, an open area, inside of the little small office. And then you've got a shotgun also played at the top of server. There's a drone from Fnatic amidst the barbed wire that I don't think Mint is aware of. And he might be in trouble here, but no, he levels. Virtue turns tail to run, and they're all blinded. Fnatic as well, and because of that, they can't secure the kill.
Wow.
Mint is able to just weather the storm for the time being, and now Lusty is blinded as well. 2 flashes from Fnatic, and the missed timing has been the undoing of Fnatic. This could be the round right here. Unable to dislodge the smoke, who is now absolutely utilityless. But it's a crouched Lusty to walk on in. And down goes Mint. He only had a tiny bit of HP. He wasted so much time, and now there's no smokes. Nyx is their next obstacle inside of server, so DarkZero have played this perfectly. And Fnatic, who themselves low on utility, might end up being the victim of those 2 missed flashes.
Well, if Nyx can do any amount of damage here, it's going to be a really hard recovery. And yeah, there it is. Hyper to support as well. It's just Mag and Lusty in a 2 versus 4. The clear into server not working so great. Nyx, well, holding a pixel angle on the side of the shield. He could very easily take out Lusty if he decides to peek, but it's patience. It could work out in the favor. Oh, that smoke is so bad. Lusty has just given a rotation free to the Jaeger. Han's gonna take out Magnet, leaving just Lusty, and he'll be eliminated by Nyx. DarkZero holding on to server and server stairs, and Fnatic unable to dislodge them.
So many mistakes from Fnatic on that round, and that ultimately ends up being what costs them it. They had perfect control. They could continue to push on in. It looked like Mint was a dead man walking at the top of server stairs. He only had 1 toxic canister left. Yeah, it flattened Virtue, but you had so much working for you as Fnatic, and what happens right as you push? The mistimed flash, a second push, and another mistimed flash. And because of that, Mint is able to hang on by a thread for 45 seconds, persisting, costing Fnatic utility, costing them time, and then ultimately not able to translate what they got control of on server stairs down to server itself because of the way that BC was playing inside a vault. He was able to make the calls to Nyx playing inside a server with the shield in front of him. There was no way that Fnatic was getting past it, and then the add insult to injury, that bad smoke from Lusty ultimately allowed Nyx to push up, and Lusty was blind. It was Nyx who had the right call, and that was the round. Unfortunate set of circumstances for Fnatic's fans, as they did seem to be in good position to carry that one through, and they just committed so many forced errors. Or would you say unforced errors?
Unfortunate errors?
Unfortunate errors could work.
Yeah. It was definitely not a great round there for Fnatic. But they've been playing pretty well so far. As long as they don't have any egregious hiccups like that again, then we could still see that back and forth. But that was definitely the most dominant round I'd say we saw out of either of these teams, or we've seen out of either of these teams. DarkZero going to CEO. Now here's the thing. DarkZero have only managed to win basement defenses, and now they can't go to the basement again. So if that continues, if DarkZero, if Fnatic consistently win on the top 2 floors, then it doesn't matter that Fnatic just lost that last round. It really doesn't. It's just going to be probably a 4-2 split for Fnatic. That's on DarkZero to make some changes to their defenses. Now, remember, going into this, this is DarkZero's map pick, and it is statistically also a map that favors DarkZero, as they're the only, between these two teams, they're the only ones who have won this in recent history.
Yeah, you said it was 5 bans for Fnatic, with only a loss to their name, whereas DarkZero's banned it twice, but they have 3 victories and 1 loss. And even though they didn't ban it, and even though it was technically a loss, they did put on a good performance against Empire on this map.
Yeah.
So, hey, you take one of the best teams in the world for a ride, that's pretty darn good. Nyx is in so much trouble here, and he's going to need an awful lot of help, but he's not going to get out alive, and the exothermic charge will actually claim his life as both teams lose a body. It's Rizraz taken down by Hyper as Nyx is off the board for DarkZero, and not only Nyx gone, but also the wall inside of CEO. So there's a safe entrance for Fnatic if they want to go through. There's the other wall waiting for Aces to possibly put down his second exothermic charge, should he still have one remaining, as he holds onto that diffuser, and will need to push in. It's going to be incumbent upon the rest of the team to ensure that they have full control of the site. In this case, they absolutely don't. Lots of soft walls with an ACOG in the Alda there, and Ace is trying to crawl his way in, and he'll meet his doom at the hands of Hot and Cold. Gun down, and diffuser down as well, with Hot and Cold still remaining fixed on that site.
Mint also in a great position over by Paper. Virtue's going to take down Hyper, though, so even man count still. And Fnatic definitely not out of this just yet. Someone's going to have to deal with Houghton, though, playing by reception. He's in such a great position, and Mint inside of Paper also can, in any moment, spring into action and hold on to CEO. He's got a shotgun. He can make the line of sight if it doesn't already exist. Diffuser down. 25 seconds. DZ still in a great spot to just wait this out. One on North Repel. That's their answer to the position that Hot and Cold is playing, but it won't be enough as Hot and can still play this angle safe. And what a good angle it is. Mint getting aggressive on the Soda hallway. Virtue's going to take down BC over by Meeting. And there you go, Mint contributing from the hall. It's all on to Mag. And he's pushing into sight. He has Diffuser, but he doesn't have time. And he'll be shut down by Hot and Cold. DarkZero take yet another round. This time, though, for the first time through this first half, not a win on the basement, but on the top floor. So that is DarkZero upsetting the rounds that we've seen so far, changing it a little bit, and, well, they've at least gone even on the half. Potentially could take it if they win their Teller's defense.
I don't think Hot and Cold moved from his position at all. I think he stayed there the entire time. After he claimed the scalp of Aces, he was able to go looking for more, and the diffuser was down right in his clutches, even though it was a far shot away from him. He just simply needed to wait and bide his time. Yeld is one of the best guns in the game, and I think for a lot of people, indisputably the best on defense. And because of this, in the hands of somebody like Hot and Cold, who isn't used to playing support roles for most of his career, but has now been moved to that position because of the players that DarkZero have picked up in the process of revamping their roster, Hot and Cold has looked quite good in a support capacity. Now, as the camera fixates on Hyper, we'll make mention of the fact that, yes, this is a Caveira on the board, and Bank is one of the largest maps in the entire game, and certainly in Pro League as well. Because of this, teams that don't do their due diligence end up running afoul of a Caveira, and because of that, it can shut down your entire push as an attacking team. Hyper is very consistent. He has good aim.
10 seconds left.
You can see something tricky happen here, but Fnatic's not the type of team to not drone effectively.
5 seconds left before
So we'll see exactly how quickly they'll be able to figure out where the Cav is, if they are effective at all at doing so.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Well, it's likely to happen. Fnatic have been doing a great job of droning thus far. That could change, of course. There's a lot of inconsistencies in the way that Fnatic have been playing. That's the main thing that I'm noticing here. We've seen some amazing rounds from Fnatic. We've seen some rounds where you just have to question, wonder how that came into being. But it's definitely not anything that is predictable, I guess. And that's interesting in of itself, I suppose. Next, using an Evil Eye, and it's gone. Yeah, he was trying to peek the ATM's doorway, and he's going to go for a force peek after losing the Evil Eye. It's the Zofia Magnet over by ATMs, just trying to get a pick or two from that position.
Bomb located.
It's a powerful one if you can use it right, but it's also a angle that usually leaves you at the disadvantage as the attacker. Another drone gone there. That's actually, I think, Magnet unlimited information now. Hyper playing in reception on the top floor. That's if he's patient enough, then that could actually work out. If it's a main lobby take, then it would definitely work out. But right now, Fnatic are actually focusing on clearing the top floor. You could see that Hyper is surrounded, and he's getting a tight angle on potentially Rizraz if Rizraz decides to push into reception. It'll just actually spring up and miss a lot of shots, eventually downing the IQ, though that took him a little bit too long. His position now, give it away. He will be collapsed upon. Hiding inside of meeting, no pistol shots left, and he's going to use the SMG, which is less than ideal. Hot and Cold contributing as well, though, as he takes down Virtue. Finally, Hyper gets shut down upstairs, but he did some damage and wasted some time before Nyx also takes out Magnet.
The way that DarkZero played around the Cav was beautiful. The moment that Hyper was able to take out the IQ of Rizraz, the rest of DarkZero coalesced around that upstairs and started to move towards the remaining members of Fnatic because they knew that Fnatic was going to try to collapse upon Hyper, as you said. Exactly what happened. 3 bodies from Fnatic went hunting for the Brazilian operator, and because of that, DarkZero decided to counter-hunt, and they were the ones that ultimately came away with the big victory here.
You know what I noticed? We haven't been seeing a lot of Nomad recently.
That is correct. You have not.
Yeah, and Nomad is, you know, especially like in that situation, for example, would probably have assisted Fnatic quite a lot. Not bringing her, not putting them up on the flanks, allowed exactly what you were talking about, that retake upstairs, get those kills.
I mean, to be fair, Bank is not exactly a favorable map to Nomad, though, so it's not like she's going to be run with, I think, great reliance.
I would argue she's a kind of a universal operator, but yeah, it's not her best map.
I think that a lot of teams like to work elsewhere, and because of this, they'll pick their operators accordingly. In this case, the picks that will come out will be from DarkZero. They get 2 of them, and they'll take their defensive half 4-2. We'll switch sides and see what Fnatic can come up with on defense as, and by the end of it, DarkZero ended up winning CCTV, CEO, and Tellers after losing Tellers and CEO in the first 2-3 rounds that they defended them. Obviously, some frustration there will be on the side of Fnatic, but as you've noted, and I think does need to be stressed, this is very firm DarkZero territory.
Yeah, it certainly is. This is their map. They picked it, and they are very comfortable on it statistically. So, they'll be going to the basement. Or rather, I guess Fnatic will be going to the basement. And they'll also bring a clash. They brought the castle so that during the reveal phase, it would seem like they were going to the top floor. And they're trying to trip up DarkZero on their 6th pick. But, yeah, the operators that are being brought from DarkZero right now are going to be fine for attacking downstairs. They still have smoke on Hyper, and they have all of the available hard destructors, so as well as a Thatcher. So I think DarkZero are going to be plenty comfortable here. Ace is on a clash. It's quite interesting.
You see something missing on DarkZero's lineup, though, to deal with that clash. Really all they have is the EMP. Yeah, there's not going to be a lot that they can do unless they manage to pinch aces.
I mean, that's what happens, I guess, if you decide to bring an Ashe instead of a Sophia.
I mean, but you could also possibly deal with a clash with frag grenades if you brought a Sledge or a Buck.
Yeah.
Maybe even a Finka. We've seen some teams run Finka on Bank, mostly Latin American teams.
Or a Nomad.
Or a Nomad. Or possibly a Gridlock if you can huck the track stingers into positions, then maybe force the clash into them, doing 10 damage apiece.
Yeah, they do actually a substantial amount of damage, to be fair.
The sound is way worse than the damage it does. The sound of operators stepping on it sounds awful.
It's like you're being stabbed in the gut, and it's just tiny little spikes.
More like ow,
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 ow. Oh.
I feel like in real life, if humans had a health bar, stepping on a Lego would do more than 10 damage.
Maybe.
And then the sound of that, it definitely.
It's very gory, yeah, for what it is. But yeah, we haven't been seeing a whole lot of either of the flank watching operators that are, could potentially be good at the at countering clash. It's likely the clash will be playing to support the staircase hold or server hold, or no, actually, Mace is just staring at the garage. You know, that's actually kind of nice. He can take his hands off the keyboard and the mouse and just chill.
Just relax.
Just stare at a screen.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that with any other operator. If you're holding garage as any other operator, you have to actively maneuver and be cautious, because if you stand still, you're going to get headshot. But as a clash, you can just, you can relax.
I wonder, even though Capitao is a very frequently banned operator, and I think some might say that he's quite strong at the moment, I wonder how much of this was Fnatic knowing that they were going to be running a clash often. And because of that, you can abuse it and force DarkZero to have to commit 1 or 2 operators to an anti-clash role. Obviously, Zofia being the biggest, I guess, success when it comes to pushing a clash out of position. I wonder if that was a strategic choice by Fnatic or just simply a comfort pick onto the Capitao, because not a lot of people want to deal with Capitao on any map.
It's definitely comfort for Fnatic right now, but it could also play into the clash. But they banned Capitao more than any other attacker by far. So it's not too surprising to see that. Oh, that's the downed clash and a flurry of kills for both teams. Neither come out on top. Lusty on lower HP, so technically DarkZero takes the cake a little bit, and they're also going to eliminate Magnet, who had retaken upstairs. So definitely a win right now for DarkZero. As Riz goes down, he'll be finished off by the Ashe charge. It's just on Lusty. Low HP, but he's in a great position. Oh, just misses an opportunity. And you can see that DZ are aware of his position and are rotating to plant inside of lockers instead. Much safer. The retake already in, though, from Lusty, and he'll be eliminated by Nyx. A great take there from DZ and some on-the-fly decision-making. It's really well played. That's 5-2-2 now for DarkZero.
That's another big round from Lusty, making good individual plays. He did that on the Jackal earlier, but it wasn't much success at all. I don't know if Fnatic had the greatest comms on that round, because you saw Rizraz cross after the wall had been opened up into server, and Rizraz just looking the other way. He's not even trying to take a fight into server. He got picked off very easily by Nyx. I'm not exactly sure if Fnatic were aware of the fact that DZ had taken control of server, because DZ obviously made a coordinated push up top after Hyper got cornered inside of Elevator, and they knew that the clash was coming at him. Well, you had 2 separate bodies from DarkZero trying to punish the clash, as you saw Lusty get recalled from inside of open area. Fnatic just seemed to be all over the place there, and I think they got confounded by what DarkZero brought with them. Now, here's one thing that's changed up. The Ashe is gone, and you've got a Zofia. That could be a reaction to the fact that there was a clash previously. You might be victim to a clash that gets 6 picked on, but in this case, Fnatic has opted for something differently. Magnet will be on the operator that was literally created for him, based off of him, Mozzie.
Of course.
Of course.
As I'm sure most of you know, Fnatic are Australian. So, and Magnet is definitely the template for Mozzie.
Well, you look at the scoreboard, and without looking at much of the game, I think this tells a very convincing story. Number one, top-heavy here from Fnatic. The team has not shown the same amount of depth through these 3 rounds, and even though, or through their 2 rounds that they've won, and through the 8 rounds in total, this is obviously a significant problem for them. Here's another problem. Hyper is right at the door of the site, and it doesn't appear to be anybody watching. If he held that diffuser, in theory, he could just walk right in and plant.
It's a very fast take. But there's actually one player on defense for Fnatic on top of the A drop, which is open for some reason. It's a different defense than what we're used to seeing.
This is very odd to maybe try to bait them into this hatch control, and once you lose control of the hatches, you're in a great degree of trouble. But Fnatic's got 3 bodies off-site, 4 bodies close to off-site. It's Aces sitting on site, that's it. So that's all she wrote. The other 4 members of Fnatic are all roaming right now.
The fact that DZ have managed to take server so quickly is actually not going to work great for them, because, yeah, you have server, but you also need to take control of the drop-downs above, which are opened up. DZ were obviously not expecting this, and why should they? This is a very off-meta strategy, opening up your own drop-downs and then playing underneath, especially considering the Habana has been banned. But it's what Fnatic committed to, and you can see that Nyx was trying to deal with it by moving into archives and opening up the wall. He's been somewhat successful, but meanwhile, the take into server is being punished as Hot and Cold has been downed.
Zero haven't really done all that much upstairs. Now you see Hyper getting pushed on up towards admin side. He's got the Jaeger above playing, and Nyx will have to win this one, but he can't do that, at least for the time being. Hyper still down below, watching the opening as possibly BC can go on in and go for the plant. They've had to juggle the diffuser because Hot and Cold is so low on HP. Hilariously, Nyx gets droned out. He takes out Lusty and 2 from DZ, answered back 1 by Fnatic. As Rizraz will look for another Virtue with 2 big kills, even though one of them is onto Magnet. It's a 3v2. It favors DarkZero now. Nick's looking for the head, but he'll get caught in the cross as Riz is able to take him out. You're going to have to pull the plant off with a minute to go. But DarkZero's still got time. They don't have hatch control at all. The site is vacant. DZ can walk right in as the 2 remaining members of Fnatic are looking at the exact same drop. You can do exactly what you did last time. Go deep into the site and plant. But I don't think this information is at their disposal. Mint goes on upstairs as Hyper takes down Rizraz. Nobody really knows where Virtue is for the time being. Mint is just completely blind. Virtue will drop, possibly to his death. They hear him, but Virtue wins that one. It's another kill. This is big for him, as he'll now stare down Hyper in a 1v1 with 20 seconds left. Hyper has no idea. DZ have been completely blind so far. Virtue will play around the bomb site. He'll head on in now as the plant is going down, but now he doesn't know. He'll hear the C7E as Hyper's fallen off. He'll have to go for the kill. He doesn't have a lot of time. He knows this, and unless there's some miracle in the very final seconds, oh! How do you get that? My God, Hyper! He pulls it out with a second to go, right as the clock strikes 0. And that'll be match point now for DarkZero. Goodness gracious, by the stroke of luck, there's not even any emotion on their face. What a play by Hyper.
He was less than a second away from losing that round. If he had hit anything other than the headshot there, it would have been Fnatic taking it. Really good job to Hyper going for the push there. You can see he was panicking a little bit. He potentially could have actually stuck the plant, to be fair. But he decided to play it a little bit more aggressive, and it worked out in the end, though it was close. Now, Fnatic struggling here on Bank, but as we've talked about already several times, this is certainly DarkZero's map, as they have better stats here, and, of course, they did pick it. After this map, we will have Consulate, which is an even match between the two. Both teams are pretty good on Consulate, have a decent record, 2-0-1 for both. Different set of bans, but if you're looking at just the performance on the map, and yeah, well, they're the same. So that'll be an interesting one for sure. Here and now, DarkZero looking oh so very comfortable. And they'll attack onto the basement one last time. Either it'll be a win for Fnatic, and we'll keep going, or DarkZero will just end it here.
10 seconds to insertion. 5 seconds left before insertion.
Oh. Fnatic setting up for what appears to be a fake top floor roam, I'm guessing. They're putting a few reinforcements upstairs. They're also putting some pests on the top floor, and I'm guessing, again, it's just a kind of a fib. Saying, hey, we're gonna roam up here. Who's their drone denial? And maybe they get a drone out of it, or maybe they slow down DarkZero's clear. Either way, could profit, or they will roam upstairs. We'll see. They got options.
I mean, they just did it, didn't they? They had 4 bodies above the site.
It was an interesting hold, yeah.
It was a very interesting hold, but once again, DarkZero is assessed and knows there's just nobody playing inside a server. The fact that Fnatic keeps relinquishing control of server has been their undoing for 2 rounds in a row, and that last defense was really well done by Fnatic. Keep in mind, it was Fnatic also the team that baited that mirror retake upstairs in CEO, so quirky plays on Bank that we don't see all that often seem to be Fnatic's strong suit when they do come here, even though this is a map that DarkZero excels on. And once again, DarkZero very quick to the punch. They've taken control of server, they've opened up the wall, they can push on into A when they want. They've cleared out nobody from Fnatic, as once again it's going to be an aggressive roam, and both of the panels are gone. You know there's going to be play or presence upstairs, so what do? Well, you stash a drone, and you see Magnet playing from above. There's actually 2 bodies from Fnatic playing above, and it looks like it's Nyx all alone to try and clear them out. 3 now, as it's the Vigil, the Jaeger, as well as the Mozzie, and he just narrowly avoids the hole that's opened up.
You can see that Nyx is trying to kill Magnet, but while Nyx is trying to kill Magnet, Lusty is in a position to kill Nyx, and you can see there's the impact from the Vigil. He's just trying to distract, though. Nyx is possibly aware of this. You can see the angle come out from Lusty, and he lands a few shots, but no kill, and finally Magnet will go with Lusty to get that kill as Nyx attempts to rotate over towards the skylight. Really nice roam there from Fnatic and predicting the move from Nyx. It's happened in the past, it'll shut down this time.
This is match point 2, keep that in mind. So hot and cold, utility dumping all the way down to red. There is a Jaeger on the board. It's both Hyper as well as hot and cold breathe in some of the toxicity that comes from the bags thrown out by smoke. It's Mint now upstairs trying to Roam clear. He'll find Lusty. The Vigil has no chance whatsoever. And Mint is expecting a body to pop out somewhere towards CEO. So that's exactly where Mint is going to go. Hot and Cold will go for the plant. He's going to take a lot of damage. That's a miss from Hyper, who just is unable to hit the Toxic Canister. Mint just a second too late, as down goes BC. That was one of the flank watches. Aces is there, and Mint will have to hurry. 20 seconds left, and Fnatic are in full control for the time being. Expecting some possible plant denial. It's going down. Hot and Cold protected very effectively right now, and he'll get it down, but it's a spray out, and Hot and Cold falls. Nothing for Virtue as Mint is watching from above. It's all up to Hyper and Mint to try to hold this one together. Aces takes out what is remaining of Hot and Cold. He gets down. Riz, Raz, and Magnet in a 2v2. Diffuser still down. This is it for DarkZero. If they hold on and they take map number 1, Mint will rotate. He'll head possibly towards server, and he can open it up as it wasn't reinforced. There's still a body from above, and that's exactly where Mint is going to go. Aces has been picked back up, so Hyper's going to have even more to do. Waiting for the head to peek. He gets pinged from 1. Can't go for the second. Oh, he'll take out Demazi. Hyper and Mint are there. It's a 1v2, and that'll be at DarkZero, with Hyper being responsible for the final kill in the last 2 rounds. They'll take their map. It's a 7-2. They barely broke a sweat, and they don't even need to look happy as they're up 1-0 over Fnatic.
Really strong win there for DarkZero. Again, their map, but seriously, it looked one-sided through and through. There was some interesting stuff being brought out from Fnatic. I especially liked that basement attack strategy that they brought at the beginning, but it didn't work. And that's the most important thing.
You don't necessarily want to point fingers, but on Fnatic's side of things, it was only Lusty and Virtue who really seemed to show up at all. Whereas DarkZero, almost every single member of the team had a significant moment that they can look back on with great pride. It was a quick one. We have Consulate up next, and as the replays roll, we'll throw to a break, and then we'll see you for map number 2.
Drop the bomb.
It's an excellent job.
Compromised.
Welcome back, everybody, to our second map between DarkZero and Fnatic. We saw a very fast one. This was a 7-2 scoreline for DarkZero to prevail over the Australians on map number 1, Bank. Sure surprised me how quick that one was. I expected it to maybe be a little bit more of a back and forth, but we've got map 2 on the docket for you.
That'll be Consulate. It's an evenly matched map so far for the recent history of these teams. Both have the same record, 2-0-1, and we'll find out who actually ends up being the better team, but it'll probably be a closer contest than what we just witnessed.
Yeah, I would expect, given that this is not only Fnatic's map, but also that neither of these teams seem to have a much better record than the other. As we saw on Bank, coming into it, we knew that DarkZero was a lot more composed, and they just carried it away. Fnatic, their guns, very silent. There's really only 2 players that actually showed up. There was great depth from DarkZero. They played it well. Almost every single measure, DarkZero exceeded Fnatic, whether it comes to entry, whether it came to actual plant denial, whether it came to roaming, droning, etc. And Fnatic will need to use this break to better themselves because they risk being done for the day if they don't prevail here on Consulate.
Should they get to Clubhouse, though, which would be our map number 3, if it comes, then Fnatic do have a significant leg up in terms of their record. It is, right now, statistically, Fnatic's best map, as they've played it a total of 10 times and won it 8, lost it twice. Whereas DarkZero has a kind of a checkered past on Clubhouse, as they've won it 1 time, drawn it 1 time, and lost it 1 time. So, we'll see. Typical bans from Fnatic as they take out Capital. Jackal going to be eliminated here from DarkZero, a little bit different than what we've seen from them in the past. And probably an Echo ban from Fnatic when we get there. Before there, a Mira ban probably from DarkZero, or Valkyrie. Are playing on Consulate, not Mira's best map, so the Valkyrie makes a lot of sense. This will probably be Echo, and if not Echo, then Mira. But I doubt they would value a Mira over an Echo on this map, yeah.
Unsurprising to see Echo get banned out. I did start this off by saying that Echo might be banned a little bit less frequently just because of the fact that his drones are easier to see, but he's still such a powerful operator, even though his drones are more visible than they were just a couple days ago. There's your Nomad that you were talking about. You even said, well, there's not a lot of Nomad. Consulate's a great map for Nomad.
We haven't casted a map yet, or a round of Nomad yet today.
That's very true. Though we did see Nomad in the EG versus NIP matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. You can't see it at home, friends, but we have a monitor next to us that shows the other live game, so we can look over and glance at the other game very quickly. We can tell you right now that it's map 2 of SSG versus the Vodafone Giants on the other channel, Rainbow Six Bravo. Don't forget that there's a second channel, and if English isn't your forte and you happen to speak another language, you can go and look for the regional streams as well that have the same broadcasts here, just in a different language. If that's more your speed, there's a lot of options, and that's one of the beauties of having a major, is that we have extraordinary coverage of every single game all across the world. So feel free to go. If you speak Japanese, there's the Japanese stream. If you speak Portuguese, there's the Brazilian stream. If you speak German, there's the Dutch stream, or the German stream, Ubisoft DE. So feel free to go listen in on those. If Kickstar and I are not your speed, we promise we won't take it personally.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Fnatic going to the top floor to begin their defense. Starting defense again. Well, not again, sorry. Boom, starting defense this time. Both teams have been favoring attack, which is kind of interesting, actually. Because we saw Fnatic go to attack on Bank, and now we're seeing DarkZero go to attack on Consulate. Interesting decision making. I think it's very different than what we were seeing earlier, the first match. Now, looks like it's actually going to be a yellow stairs take from DarkZero. That's what they're shaping up for right now. There are a few different ways you could take onto the top floor of Consulate. A lot of teams will just decide to clear in through admin office on the east side. That's the top floor as well. But it becomes a little predictable. And with a potentially a pulse in play, sometimes you don't want to risk that. C4 from below, that'll often come out. And right now, it's a take onto yellow stairs, which is another one of the more typical strategies. The one problem here is that there's no Capital in play. Well, the EMPs have been well placed by Mint, as you can see, and at least some, I think there was an ADS pre-placed earlier elsewhere of the ADSs might have been destroyed. As you can see, there's still one left on top of yellow. Now that can easily be cleared out. I know, I was wrong. No, that's the first EMP coming out. So there it goes, ADS dispatched. And now it's easy to nade anybody playing on the top of yellow stairs. Not gonna be the case though, and there's a little bit of a, I guess, an unknown standoff. As you can see, Nyx is trying to get the player inside a bathroom. That's actually going to be BC who gets it. Perfectly synced up, Ash charge with the nade there. Virtue's trying to get the person on rappel of the bathroom window. He's not able to get the angle just yet, but he's looking for it. He's hungry, and he needs to get those kills because Fnatic are so far behind.
Virtue just got droned out, and with Rizraz on spiral stairs, he'll likely be joined by Virtue. Or simply wait for the time being. That'll leave Aces on site. We've seen him perform miracles as Maestro. He's definitely not somebody to ever count out of the action, but nobody from DarkZero even has a scratch on them. There's 500 HP between the entire team. And for the time being, they'll just simply wait. You know that you can take chances and possibly go for runouts, and because you have 2 extra bodies, DarkZero can commit 1 to flank watch, 1 to possible runouts, and still push 3v3. Along with Rizraz being really low on HP, he's able to take some gambles here. Virtue's not getting back in alive. He runs out, he cuts down BC with Hot and Cold trading him off. So yeah, you've gotten the sledge out of action. You'd already used his frag grenade, so it doesn't really matter. Now DarkZero only have 2 people to go against. They've got some drone work happening. And finally, got an exothermic charge to crack open the site. Rush on in, Hot and Cold will need to go for the plant, but they're taking too long. This is almost inexcusable. The patience that we see from DZ. C4 goes out, Hyper will survive it, Ace is down, and it ends up being a lockout for DarkZero. I don't even think the diffuser got planted at that point, as it's DarkZero winning yet another round, and they start off Fnatic's map on good footing.
That's a nice shot there from Mint. A really good take from DarkZero on the top floor. It was looking problematic for a little bit there because it took them so long to clear out the yellow stairs. But when they did so explosively. BC managed to get the nade kill, and they got that control quick enough to eventually get into the site. It was just, again, it was very close. 600 HP. Because everybody has 120 HP.
Well, I thought you have 20 HP once you hit 0.
No, so it's technically speaking, everyone has 120 HP because if you hit 0 and it doesn't do more than the 20 HP that it would require to kill you instantly, then you get down. So then you have your 20 HP. So it's kind of like it's a little bit different. And actually, I don't even think it's
I feel
it's less now, isn't it? Or did they not change that part?
They changed that part. I feel like
it's 600s.
I feel like you're pedantic.
Okay.
I feel like you're being shallow and pedantic.
All right.
That's a reference, by the way.
I don't know that one.
I'll show you the clip when we're done. So we got a match to cast.
Fnatic going to the top floor yet again. They're going to be bringing a Mira to this site. It's interesting. Left unbanned, not too crazy on Consulate. It's not her best map, to be honest, but she can still be useful.
Fnatic loves this bathroom Mira. We've seen them do it a number of times, and the other Mira is going to go exactly where Aces is looking right now, which is pretty standard, but if you lose control of connector, there goes that Mira and that control. And the thing is that if you lose control of connector, you lose both the Mira windows. Presumably, that's where Aces is going to put it at least. That's where most teams do. He might decide to opt somewhere else, but that Mira window that goes on the bathroom is a pretty nice place to put it. For the time being, DarkZero will assemble over on the console office windows. Aces is waiting to put it down, so this could be a pocket Mira strat, waiting until it goes down at the very final second. The problem with a pocket Mira is that if you die, the Mira window doesn't set itself up, so you die with it, and that's a valuable piece of info that is gone here. Also, Mozzie was able to grab a drone during the prep phase, so there's going to be some extra intel on Fnatic's side of things. They managed to spot Rizraz on yet another drone, which I don't think he sees. It's on top of the speakers, assembled over by Piano. And if DarkZero can get a good call here, well, you can possibly take care of this Mozzie really quickly. I don't think they know how to handle it for the time being.
It's interesting that they're not even going to try. I mean, they have the information, that's great and all, but he's clearly on drone. They probably could have gotten a free kill there from Rappel. Not even going to attempt that, though. He's probably worried about a potential run-out setup on the balcony or from the front door, which is, you know, good's good. Mint's playing it safe. That's fine.
sounded like impacts. It could have been Lusty opening something up. Not entirely certain of where they were coming from, but you could hear them clear as day. Lusty is downstairs, and there's one impact grenade that has indeed opened up one part of the garage wall. Down goes Nyx as Fnatic will get the opening pick. It's Virtue to take down the Ash. No piano control for DarkZero just yet, as they are stalling out really hard. And the Mozzie might have actually been spotted if Mint had leaned a certain way through that window, but instead Rizraz knows it's time to get out of there. Down goes the smoke, as Magnet's life is not going to be long in either of these rounds. That's Hyper on yellow stairs, and he's got a clear passage all the way on up now. Just needs to look through the corpse of the smoke. He's got bathroom control too, and he can continue to maneuver. This is good for DarkZero. They've got control that they need, but they need to translate it towards the site. They've got just under a minute to go. So even though they stalled out for a period of time, they can find their footing.
Hyper's got good angles here at the top of yellow stairs. He's not able to find anyone just yet. Another problem is that DarkZero only has 30 seconds left. That's not a whole lot of time, and they've only just gotten control of top of yellow. The fuse is on Repel for CEO, and it's looking for a plant, but there's so little time to make that happen. Hyper going to add another kill to his tally from yellow, and a third for him. He's been having a really good round so far, but there's still denial downstairs in the C4, and Hyper's going to be down at the top of yellow. Houghton cannot really plant here, as Riz is likely to deny it from below if there's any amount of information. Lusty also finishes off Mint, so it's actually just a 1 versus 2, and the planter eliminated. Lusty, an excellent round there, and Fnatic will take their first.
I think they really needed that. It was only round 3 in map 1 where Fnatic last were successful in any of their rounds, and I think they needed a motivation boost, and they needed some good news, I suppose, against a pretty formidable opponent here. We've never seen these teams play against each other, and that's one of the beauties of having these international contests, is you get to see your dream matchups. Just as we saw Cyclops versus G2 earlier, we saw EG versus NIP. EG is still undefeated against Latin America teams, and then of course you've got SSG currently playing up against the Vodafone Giants as well. In this particular matchup, it's two styles, I think, going against one another. Fnatic love to be crafty. Of course, with Dizzle as your coach, there's a lot of thought process behind why and how this team functions. One of the biggest disappointments for fans of Fnatic is that when they end up being an emotional team, they make a lot of mistakes. They get a little bit too overzealous, they peek things they shouldn't peek, and that lack of discipline can ultimately be their undoing, because even though they're a great shot, they are, unfortunately, victims of, I guess, their own success, because they're used to winning those fights. In this case, DarkZero has shown excellent discipline. I think we can say that. They have always been one of the most well-prepared teams, and in this case, they have looked pretty good every step of the way. That round obviously is no exception, even though they fell short. So we'll see what happens now, as it's a garage defense from Fnatic down below. No Kaid on the board for Fnatic is actually very interesting. A lot of teams love to run Kaid on this site, not just for hatch control, but also because you can play from farther back and throw the Electric Claw onto the garage wall without putting yourself in danger to yellow stairs the same way that Bandit tricking would. In fact, if you look at Fnatic's lineup, the only denial they have is Mute, and that's a singular EMP gone. In this case, they're lucky because DarkZero doesn't have a Thatcher on the board, so they'll rely an awful lot on either the sledge of BC up in piano or Mint's Twitch drone.
Looks like it's going to be a garage opened up already. No denial means no need for a Thatcher, so DarkZero got a little bit lucky there. Simple droning going to be coming into the garage now, and they'll probably just go for a straight garage take. They don't really need to complicate it any more than that. There's 3C4 on the side of Fnatic, so plenty of denial. And, I mean, well, plant denial. No garage denial. And they've also got Evil Eyes to gather information. And Twitch is being brought to counter those, and you're not even going to need them there for the first one, as I think that's a nade from BC. Second should be dispatched there from the Twitch drone, depending on if it's too high or not. It might be looking up. It's very likely that it's looking up. Of course, when you see the Twitch, you got to angle them accordingly. If you look the if you look the Evil Eye high enough, then it's really hard for a Twitch or a Thatcher to destroy them with their gadgetry.
That was a team kill waiting to happen in front of the garage, wasn't it? 3 bodies, but now DarkZero's just gonna storm on in. 4 bodies in, they rush. They'll fly in and they'll take control, but very well handled by Virtue as he finds 2 kills to answer the one from DarkZero. Unbeknownst to Fnatic, it'll be a successful plant from DZ. and now they're in post-plant coverage. The Pulse and Hot and Cold tussling around the bomb chassis. Aces pops up, he'll be the hero there. Yellow Stairs control going for Virtue, but BC's the better aimer. Enter the F2, but both BC and Mint are so low. Lusty taking out Mint, and all that stands in between a victory for Fnatic here is the Egg himself. Affectionately titled, and Aces will shut him down. You just have to get to the diffuser on time. But I don't think he saw it. It might be in the body. He'll have plenty of time. And this is an easy hold on for Fnatic. They read it very well, and DarkZero got a little bit too cocky while rushing into the site. And they get swatted away, in particular by Virtue. Well handled by Fnatic. And it's 2 in a row now for FNC.
You can see the execution strategy there for DarkZero. They clearly had a plan for that rush. It wasn't just a, abandon all thought sort of rush. They knew exactly where they wanted to plant and exactly where they wanted to execute and hold. Unfortunately for DarkZero, though, they did not do a great job of dealing with the player in security and security hall. That ended up working heavily against them. And BC did a great job of trying to hold on to the round by himself over by White Van, but when Mint came outside and was ineffective, didn't accomplish much of anything, then the round was pretty much over at that point. It was a nice try, though, from DZ, and a better retake from Fnatic. Well done to them for managing to recover that round. All things considered, post-plant, that is a tricky situation, no matter who you are. So, basement defended successfully, top floor defended successfully. Fnatic, we'll go to the middle floor. You can technically go to tellers, but very few teams actually do.
I feel like teams pull that out when all hope is lost. That's like there's a word in there that you can't say on live broadcast. That's the oh blank button.
Oh heck, what do we do?
Yeah, the break in case of absolute emergency. So in this case, I don't think Fnatic have ever found themselves, at least so far through the 3 rounds, needing to go over to tellers, though, as I mentioned, when you have Dizzle as your coach, you like to do zany stuff. And going to tellers for a lot of teams can be considered quite zany. In this case, lobby is a very reasonable place to go. One thing to keep note of for DarkZero is they have been in a position to plant every single round so far, which just goes to show you how close these rounds have gotten. So even though Fnatic has come away on 2 separate occasions with victories, they were hard-fought victories. If you continue to allow DarkZero to take control of the site as well as they have, without having Fnatic using a retake strategy, because that has not been Fnatic's goal every single time, then eventually it'll get to a point where DarkZero will be more successful at blocking you out from a retake. In this case, lobby retakes, it can be pretty difficult to pull off. I would imagine that DarkZero's biggest endeavor is just going to be this second floor, which for the time being looks like pretty standard. DarkZero was holding console office. They've got a vigil up there. Lusty will have to push back at some point, lest he gets circled by the DZ guns.
DZ have thus far, when attacking anything other than basement, only executed onto Yellow Stairs. And it's, worked out for them one time. They're going to take out Lusty, though, on the Yellow Stairs, trying to challenge the Repel. There's another player there as well, Riz, who's doing his best inside a bathroom. He'll be detected by the Lion, but, nothing they can... Well, I guess everything they can do with that information is he's downed, but he'll dock himself back to life. Unfortunate misses there from Hyper. Ash Charge goes out underneath, and Hyper will catch the rotation. Riz Raz gone now. And DarkZero, a great execution there onto the bathroom and top yellow. They really have refined that to a science, and I think that they clearly understand what they need to do every single step of the Yellow Stairs take. It's just 2 players left on Fnatic now, and yeah, okay, that's definitely not over, but DarkZero are in firm control of this round.
Yeah, that was very quick, too. DarkZero just managed to pulverize them, and there are certain sites that we see where when you start to lose, you really start to lose. Lobby isn't necessarily always one of them. Teams don't often get that aggressive. Usually what you'll see is that you can just walk in the front door and possibly get a plant off. That's really oftentimes the biggest extent of a rush that we see on lobby with these teams. But because of this, DarkZero can commit so many bodies to just hold off the remaining members of Fnatic. Consulate's very narrow, it's very linear. It's very tough for you to be able to get back to the site here now, given that it's going to be a 2v5. Still, despite this, DarkZero's gonna have to hurry. They've got 30 seconds left, and they're still struggling. Nope, there goes Aces. It's all up to Virtue. Beautiful shot on the Nyx, but he gives his position away. It's just a small maneuver to the side. And his biggest foe will not be Hyper, but those impenetrable banners and those impenetrable railings. As Hyper manages to get the very final kill, and they'll equalize. It's 2-2 for both of these teams.
So, probably back to the top floor. And yes, indeed, there you go. It's going to be a top floor defense here for Fnatic. Middle floor, seemingly not friendly to them. Though oh, actually, no. Okay, they're going to stick to their guns. Interesting. We'll change last minute to the middle floor. Probably trying to break the expectations from DarkZero. Here's the thing, though. The attack is probably going to be very much the same. DZ have clearly shown a preference to attacking onto the yellow stairs. Maybe they'll do something different to try and mix things up. But, yeah, the strategy here from DZ has been the same for most of these rounds. It's not going to change if they're attacking onto the top floor or the middle floor. That's the beauty of the strategy that is being used right now. It's a yellow stairs. You can use you can go anywhere you want from yellow stairs. So, yeah, DarkZero will probably go for that again, or maybe not. Maybe they'll go for the more typical admin take. Taken through admin, you could push into meeting. Once you do that, you have control over the B bomb site, and then it's an easy execution from the front door. They've got their options. I'm really surprised that Fnatic are going to try this site again. They don't really need to. They could have gone top floor, then bottom floor, which usually are more comfortable for most teams. But they made their decision.
I wonder if it's just because they saw something go awry very early on and were a little bit too overextended, and that if they can shore that up, then they feel that they'll do better here on lobby.
Probably.
That could be the line of thinking. They've already made a swap, which is Rizraz, who was basically trapped inside a bathroom, has now moved over to the other side of the map. Admin is not usually a spot that a lot of teams contest. We like to note this every time we see Consulate get played, but there's 2 members from Fnatic over here, and they're going to invest in it quite heavily. Rizraz might fall off. Virtue actually might fall off. It might have just been 30 seconds them sitting and waiting just to see if DarkZero was going to entry, but no, that's not the case. It's actually going to be an entry from down below, and oh, goodbye, Lusty. Nyx will find him and continue to move through the map. He walks in, takes out Lusty, and then walks right out.
Yeah, you could see that Lusty had no idea anyone was going to be coming from the garage. That's poor information gathering there from Fnatic. If you're not going to be gathering information on the garage, you need to at least barricade those doors to give you some kind of prompting when you're being pushed. So bad prep or bad information, whichever one you want to call. Good job to Nyx, though. Props to him and his team. Good droning and good follow-up from Nyx himself to get that to kill early on. DZ are setting up outside of the front door, getting ready to execute into the main lobby. They have to get more control before they can actually do that. Doc called out at the middle of Visa stairs, and that could be a kill if played correctly from DarkZero.
DarkZero has been really sneaky and very, very precise with their drones. They've been able to find a member of Fnatic without Fnatic knowing on almost every single round so far. I actually want to say every round. Now, keep in mind that there's a drone on Fnatic's side too, so Magnet will be able to pilot that one around and possibly find somebody from DarkZero on their entry. Rizraz now been droned out, sprayed through the wall. The Doc will survive for the time being as he hits the desk. He'll be continuously pestered by the drone. Manages to shoot it out. Rizraz getting absolutely taken apart for the time being. But he'll heal himself right back up. That's the power of the Doc. Down goes Aces as we see one of the signature grenades from BC with his opponent's names on it. And now the drone on spiral stairs getting shot as the Doc heads above. DZ can continue to circle the wagons as they find themselves in a 5v3.
Nice entry there from BC. And Rizraz gonna get the refrag, and 2 for him actually. Hyper though will shut him down, leaving just Virtue above. He's in a great spot here to deny the push into the main lobby, but the only real spot to do that from, and that's the drop down. Doesn't seem like DZ even knows. They're expecting the person on Repel to cover this flank. I believe that's BC on very low HP, and he's taken out by Virtue. It's a beautiful kill for him. Definitely winnable.
15 seconds to go.
Plant going down from hot and cold, and Virtue now needs to retake into Piano, but he's a little too far. The plant will be successful. Outpost, Virtue's in a much worse position. Oh, an attempted vault out, but he's caught hot and cold down, and only one more for DarkZero. That's Hyper. Pistol out for Virtue, but he loses the fight. Hyper secures the final kill for DarkZero and the round. That's 3-2 now for DZ.
How good has Hyper looked so far today? Oh Oh my God.
Yeah, he's been having a match and a half.
This is Hyper's first major, if memory serves me correctly. He's been very limited to the actual lands that he's played on. Obviously, being on the roster that was known as Mouse and then became Rise Nation, and then he got picked up after Rise Nation was relegated. Hyper either being bought out or moving off of his contract, however you want to phrase it, or whatever happened legally for him to go to DarkZero. But what an impact that he has had. Not only being one of the best players in North America statistically over the first half of Season 10 on this DarkZero roster, but also being so crucial for almost every part of DarkZero's strategy, and he has just absolutely manhandled Fnatic in the dying moments of every single round. So, at worst, DarkZero is going to split this first half with Fnatic, but there's a chance here for DarkZero on attack to be able to put this one away 4-2. Down to the garage, Fnatic is going to go, and I know that you expressed some confusion in the previous round at the fact that it wasn't a second floor defense. It's still open, and they're still not going there. Well, what do you think it is about Fnatic that they just don't like about that top floor defense?
I think that's fine. I mean, the thing that really confused me was that they didn't go top floor because then they could go top floor and basement, right? Like, yeah, sure, if they prefer basement to top floor, whatever. But the top floor was opened up last round, and the basement's just opening up this round. So, you know, I get if they want to go to the basement, I get that. But I'm just confused why they didn't choose to go to both. They had the options, you know, but they went to middle, and it cost them. Well, I mean, actually, to be fair to Fnatic, that didn't necessarily cost them. What ended up actually costing them was they just lost the round. They couldn't defend the basement or the middle floor, and it came close, came really close. We almost saw that clutch from Virtue. It was a pretty incredible attempt, but well, Hyper is not one who loses those.
Can we take a look at where those mirror windows just got placed? Are they both upstairs? No, they're okay. Those make a lot more sense.
Both downstairs.
Very difficult to hear from Rizraz's perspective as to where those were. It actually sounded like one went down on that garage wall. I was wondering if they were going to do the liquid strategy of putting the mirror window on the actual garage panel. No, that's not the case.
These mirror windows make sense considering what we saw from DarkZero the last time that Fnatic defended the basement. Fnatic did manage to repel a rush strategy from DarkZero, and if you rush into those two mirror windows, you're very likely going to be torn apart. So this is a clear read on DarkZero's past use of the rush. However, I don't think that's going to happen again based on the way that DarkZero are currently set up. It looks like they want to go for a full roam clear, and they're already starting to do that. As you can see, BC right above the piano, he's going to start laying some fire into bathroom, trying to scare anyone that might be roaming there. Nick's also going to open that up. No information, though, on where exactly the players are. It looks like Fnatic has fully fallen back downstairs right now. So the clear is done, whether DarkZero knows it or not, and they're just going to be trying to isolate those rotations using the air jabs, and then setting up for a take into the site, as well as using that for a vertical pressure to maybe get some picks from above.
You mentioned it very correctly. DarkZero has not broken a sweat as they've always pressured from console, and then console office and gone from there. So BC's now dropped down to piano as one of the garage panels will get opened up. That's because any kind of breach denial that would have been there from the mute is now gone off the board. Nyx is on yellow stairs. He's going to lose yet another drone to a mute jammer. Of course, there is some verticality here when it comes to the mute jammers, so they can stop you on the stairs. BC is able to get it or not to free Nyx's drone to continue to push on in, but 30 seconds you might have to go in blind. No casualties yet for either team as the second exothermic charge will go off, and Hyper taking out two. He walks right in. Down go Virtue and Lusty. Mint felled to a C4 from Magnet as Rizraz is downed as well, and now finished off from Nyx. That'll leave Aces to play around this mirror window with Magnet just off site. He'll grab a kill on the spiral stairs, but that'll be it for him as he's downed. It all rests on the shoulders of Aces, but no! The final 3 kills will come in from Nyx, and DarkZero will take the first half 4-2 on Fnatic's map. DZ on the defense, and they're close to being able to take the series 2-0.
So, DarkZero on the attacking side of Consulate looking exceptionally strong. How will they fare on defense is the question. Well, they've got a pocket strat for us, ladies and gentlemen, as they go to Archives Tellers. Now, DZ have not been the ones to show us most of the pocket strats so far today. Fnatic showed us a really cool one on Bank at the very first round, and now DZ are going to try and show us one on their very first round of the second half of the second map. Yeah, Archives Tellers is interesting, and I want to know how DZ plan on holding this. We always see a new take every time it's brought out because there hasn't been a truly successful hold of this site so far, and because of that, everyone's still trying to set the meta to define how you defend this. Maybe DZ can give us a new definition here today.
I have to ask a couple questions about this. The big one is going to be, if you're trying to hide strategies, then why would you bring this one out now? Like if you think about it, you're up 4-2, you're in the driver's seat, you've likely flustered and gotten under the skin of Fnatic. They haven't taken a timeout yet, and they can very much do so to try and reset themselves. Why are you going to take them to a site that you possibly could have saved, let's say DarkZero does win this, for tomorrow if they do go to Consulate, or for somewhere in the future? Because I think it's a mighty fine idea to go to a site that you don't usually go to, but I have to question why you bring it out now.
Well, in my opinion, number one, a lot of respect for Fnatic. Number two, if you win this, then you solidify your momentum. You know, that's putting you at 5-2 on map 2, and you've already won map 1, then you're in a really great spot. Number three, and this is the most important one, I seriously doubt that this is the only pocket strategy that DarkZero have. Like, knowing DarkZero, knowing the amount of prep that must have gone into this tournament, I can't imagine this is the only thing that they have to show us. And yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. Bring it against Fnatic. They're a good team, and yeah, if you can put yourself up 5-2 right now, then yeah, you're gonna probably win this match, and then you're going to be in a great spot for your group. That's just my opinion. Track Singers, well positioned there from Lusty. That's actually going to cut off rotation by Visa Stairs, and it's really easily done at that. They've got both of those disruption operators in the Nomad and the Gridlock being brought here on this attack. It's not a guarantee that DarkZero is going to win this. Even though this is an interesting setup, the way that they're defending this is I really like what they're bringing here. It is very different, and they are managing to well avoid their opponents right now, the attackers who are clearing into admin office, playing this from below. Looks like they're going to be relying a little bit on C4s. They've brought 3 of them. But that doesn't guarantee the win for DarkZero. This is still easily could be a Fnatic round.
Hyper's utility-less on a secondary gadget, so that's going to put it all into Mint and BC's hands. The problem with Tellers, like we said about Lobby, is that when you lose this site, you lose it real hard, and you have to retake through a staircase because very few teams will actually plant down in server. They almost always plant in Tellers after they've managed to cut off the site and isolate the roamers. That's where things get really challenging for these teams. So, for the time being, Fnatic need to take control of that second floor and then translate it to the first floor. They've got 2 bodies above, both the Ashe and the Nomad, maybe trying to find if there's an off-site member of DZ. In this case, we know there is. It's Hyper. He's playing up top of Yellow Stairs. A barricade on the console office doors means that he knows if somebody's going to go in through that direction as Rizraz creeps down below and could possibly spring into action. Hot and Cold is rotated upstairs alongside the Mozzie, and they'll break open the doorway, spray on in, and Magnet Naces fall as DarkZero takes 2 kills to start this off. 25 seconds to go. Another round of the Track Stingers will go, and Lusty falls victim to Nyx. So everything going in favor of DarkZero on this strategy, working flawlessly for the time being. Virtue always a great gunner. He'll find Nyx. That's a nice shot, but he's going to have to find an awful lot more. Alongside Rizraz, who's downstairs. Virtue will need to plant. Rizraz can't do the job he needs to do. And now Virtue up on the desk is just a C4 away. It'll be Hyper to finish it off, and obviously some celebration on DarkZero's side of things as they will take yet another round. It's their 4th in a row, Michael, and they are in full control of this map.
So at first I was starting to think, okay, wow, Fnatic are well equipped to take this site. I mean, they must have a lot of experience dealing with it from scrims because they were doing a lot of really good things to deal with your typical hold of that site. I love especially the way that they were cutting off the rotation by Visa Stairs. They must have been thinking to themselves, okay, if we do that, then they don't have any way to reconnect to the Taylor's bomb site. But then I noticed that was a clear bait and switch from DZ. So you can kind of tell that that DZ went onto that site. They thought to themselves, okay, how does this site typically see defeat? How is it that the attackers always win here? What are they doing? And the answer is really clear. I mean, you take admin office, then when you have admin office, you have full control over pretty much both of the sites. I mean, even archives, you can do a whole lot. You can inflict a lot of damage onto that. And tellers is really easy to take. And there's also, yeah, there's the pressure that goes onto Visa stairs, because if the attackers can isolate Visa stairs, then there's no immediate rotation back up into tellers. So you plant on desk, having admin control, and cutting off Visa. That's exactly what Fnatic did. And DarkZero was ready for that. They read that. They knew it was going to happen. And they set up their retake strategies perfectly. The retake was from yellow stairs onto the top floor. And you'll notice that they actually put a barricade in the long desk doorway in an attempt to kind of cover the visual of that retake from meeting and, well, long desk. Once they had a good position to execute onto the players in admin office, they did just that. And at the same time, they didn't need to use what Fnatic expected them to use, which was the Visa staircase. They also had a nice collapse just from Spiral and, you know, retaking into tellers. Overall, it was DarkZero exactly where Fnatic expected them not to be, and ignoring the typical lanes for hold on that site. So that was a really nice bait from DarkZero. It was executed well, and Fnatic fell for it. Oh, what is this? What is that?
That's an easy kill for Rizraz.
Okay. Well, he got droned out, and now Hyper's dead. I like that. This is a cool spot. He got droned out. Never seen that one before.
He's taking a break.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
Just chilling. Just sitting on the bench.
It's fine. It's probably going to mean a round for Fnatic. You know, what was it, like 80% of the time when you get the first pick, you're winning. But
yeah, there's a Siege GG stat. By the way, who have provided stats for us so far. So
thanks, Siege.
It's nice to have them involved, as always. Thank you for the work that they do, and of course the information that they provide to us. It makes our jobs not just easier, but also a lot better.
Thanks, Black.
Yeah, so there you have it. I don't know what happened to that
Ash charge?
Ash charge.
Must have been caught by an ADS.
But why didn't the first one get caught?
Well, because the ADS is inside a bathroom. He opened up the bathroom wall, and then
it got caught.
The other one went in bathroom, and then got caught, yeah.
Shrewd placement. Couldn't see the ADS from above, so it was just theory crafting on my part, but
yeah,
we'll see.
So it didn't get the shield that he wanted it to get, because I must assume it was an ADS. Either that or it evaporated. Now, Fnatic...
As utility does.
Yeah, as utility does. Fnatic are still trying to take the middle floor here, as you can see, and they're doing a good job of it. They just eliminated Nyx, and that was the roamer inside of the bathroom. DarkZero now find themselves a two-man disadvantage on this basement defense.
And this is going to get real tough, because look at Fnatic's lineup. It's the same as before. Flanking is going to just be an absolute nightmare with Lusty and Magnets operators, and now you're going to lose the garage wall as well. You've got lots of plant denial, keep that in mind. And the last three operators up are all anchors. That's what you want them to be. Hot and Cold is playing far enough back that he can just control the bottom of Spiral Stairs as well as the bottom of Visa Stairs. And that's where he's going to thrive. He's got a Vector. It's going to do great damage up close. And if Rizraz doesn't check to the left or doesn't know that there's a mirror just sitting down at the bottom waiting, actually, so there might be two bodies there, well, then he's in a lot of trouble.
Oh, an aggressive push from Hot and Cold, and he's going to look the wrong way at the perfect moment, and Riz will take that kill. Mint also on the floor, leaving just BC in a 1 versus 5. He's going to have to likely ace it to win it on low HP. It doesn't seem likely. The plant coming out here at the front of White, but there's so little time. Hey, if he could deny using an Evil Eye, this actually might be possible, but it's not going to happen. He'll do some damage, but no denial. Player on the top of yellow, and he knows it. Nice vault there, but he'll miss the shot. BC's looking for anything he can use to get himself out of this round, but it's not going to happen. A flawless one for Fnatic, and they will take another one. 5-3 here, still favored to DZ, but that was a really convincing attack from Fnatic onto the bottom floor.
Fnatic played so well on that one. They looked prepared, they came to play, they opened up the wall exactly where they needed to, and they set themselves up for a very successful post-plant. You saw just the one round of Xkaros going up at head level on the left side of the garage panel. Why? So Virtue can just stand there and essentially, if you're not hitting a headshot on him, you're not going to get him. The only real angle that you can do that is from inside of the staff area, which is where BC was situated, but even if he does kill Virtue, there's still Rizraz behind you. You've still lost yellow control to Fnatic as well.
This is a tactical timeout, appears from DarkZero, and you can tell because you can see Bacon talking to the team. Normally the coaches are not allowed to converse with their teams apart from tactical timeouts during these matches. So that's what's going on now. We'll find out who it is exactly called it. I'm sure they'll whisper it in our ear at some point. But it is a good timing, especially if you're DarkZero, I would say, after losing that last round, because that was a very convincing attack there from Fnatic. And yes, Fnatic did get bamboozled a little bit when they were attacking onto Tellers, because it was a bait strategy from DarkZero, and and Fnatic fell for that bait. But when it came to the more typical, conventional defense attack, like what we just saw on the basement, Fnatic looked dominant. And if DarkZero can't find something else to work with besides again baiting your opponent, then they're going to have trouble moving forward, because you can't do that consistently. Fnatic will stop falling for those sort of types of things. And yeah, I wonder where DarkZero is going to try and defend. Looks like they're sticking to Garage. That makes sense. I mean, they did just use a tactical timeout. I assume they were the ones who used the tactical timeout.
We can confirm it was DarkZero that called it.
Thank you. So, having just used it, they probably were setting up a different strategy to try and hold this.
When you find yourself in this position, we can often be very critical, right? We said this against Fnatic. Okay, you went to console office twice. You lost the first time, you went to it again. Why didn't you go to it after that? You know, teams will go to sites, even though they lose it many, many times. They might see something that they don't like. They might see something that, hey, this is very easily fixed. Maybe we can sort this one out. Who knows exactly what the theory is behind it? But teams tend to take this opportunity, iron out what just happened, and in DarkZero's case, they got pummeled by Fnatic. That was almost a perfect round in terms of the execution of what we saw from Fnatic. And some misplays from DarkZero, of course, lending themselves to making it appear that Fnatic was maybe more poised than they actually were. Clearly, DarkZero thinks that the issue isn't the site. The issue was either the way that they didn't react to what was brought from Fnatic or the way that they themselves played it. DarkZero forfeiting control of the top floor and then that first floor very fast, and then having very minimal map control, allowing Fnatic to just continuously bully and push on in after taking the garage panels as well. Well, that's something you got to fix and shore up as a weakness. In this case, you had also Hyper above. He died super early next to, you know, admin area, and then what? Well, it was a free death, and there was a 4v5 for the rest of the round. Obviously, Hyper's not going to go for that cheekiness again. I don't even think he's been droned out from Rizraz above either. There's an entry from Fnatic somewhere. Breaching charges go off. They see that the drop is opened up, so Fnatic is well aware that there will be at minimum 1 or 2 bodies playing upstairs, as you don't open those hatches on the second floor unless you're trying to maybe have a bait and switch. In this case, we know for a fact Rizraz has not droned out the Jaeger yet, who is currently playing on top of yellow stairs, and because of that, Lusty almost loses his life. So Rizraz's negligence or his inability to see a body on yellow stairs allows, you know, Hyper to just continue to rotate.
And he also got by the player at Cement Wall outside who was supposed to be holding the rotation there in Piano. So that's Hyper really dodging 2 bullets for the price of 1. And now he'll be safe in the site, able to effect change later on. There's a common angle we've been seeing lately into the bathroom, one that's frequently coming out. It just sees right through those little pipes there, and you can shoot anyone who roams inside a bathroom. And that's made bathroom a less popular place to be recently. That's why you also see these shields that Nyx is using right now next to him on that mirror window. Right there. So he can play the mirror window and have the shield to protect him from that hole. Oh. Ash Charge doesn't get enough of the wall to destroy the mirror. That's quite interesting. Ash Charges don't destroy mirrors, they destroy the wall around the mirror, which destroys the mirror, and he didn't get the whole wall, so.
That's very unfortunate. That's a stroke of misfortune, I guess you could say, for Fnatic there. As they expended so much utility, yeah, they burned through the ADSs, but they weren't able to do much else. It's allowed DZ to get their bodies decently close to site with none of the garage panels opened up just yet. Still, you've got control on Pianos. This could get messy for DarkZero. There go the garage panels in the exact same places that we saw from the Hibana previously. There's no denial or no active denial, as Nyx is the only one as the mute. No Bandit or Kaid being brought from either of these teams so far through 9 rounds.
Look at the time. Fnatic have 5 alive, but 15 seconds left to execute. And look at all the denial on the side of DarkZero. They're just waiting this out. They know Fnatic attacks slow, and they're taking full advantage. Evil Eye positioned well enough to maybe deny the planet. Actually might not have line of sight. It looks like it does. The C4 does as well. And that's it. DarkZero take the round and put themselves 6-3 in the lead. Having already won map number 1, this is looking good for DZ.
Means Fnatic will have to be perfect from here on out. For those of you that are keeping track at home, you've got Fnatic needing 3 rounds in a row to push to overtime, in which 2 more rounds will be required. So that's a very daunting task for Fnatic. They have good mental fortitude, even though they have been tilt-prone in the past. They seem to have gotten past most of that, especially with how they performed at Milan. I don't know, proving that tilt is, I guess, just a 4-letter word. Who really knows? So DarkZero will go upstairs to console office for the very first time. Possibly put this one away.
I feel like I can hear the comms from DZ through that last tactical break where they went and said, they were just, hey guys, they're really slow on their attack. Have you noticed? They're incredibly slow. So let's just try waiting patiently as we can. Just play it off site, you know, just hold on until they push us.
It's funny because I don't know if you could hear it over Flynn shouting.
What?
Right next to us.
I can hear, well, yeah.
Could you hear anything over Robert Flynn shouting?
Must have been really exciting. Yeah, there's no wall between us, so we just...
No metaphorical nor physical wall.
Mm-hmm. There's a curtain.
There is a curtain.
But,
can't see.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But yeah, no. So that last round, you can pretty much tell that during the tactical pause, DZ were just saying like, yeah, hey guys, Fnatic are really slow on their attack. Let's wait it out. Let's just let them slowly attack us, and we'll win on the time.
Now, unless I missed it amidst the chaos in the final, literal 2 seconds of that round, the only kill that I think DZ got was on Lusty planting. That was it.
Maybe. I wasn't paying that close attention.
Fnatic got 2 opening picks the moment they rushed in, but the C4 connected onto Lusty, and nobody from Fnatic was there close enough to be able to grab the diffuser. And because of that, you essentially have 7 people still alive. Obviously, correct me if I was wrong, please. I don't want to be incorrect, but you have 2 kills from Fnatic, and the only kill that DarkZero gets is onto Lusty. That diffuser is down. Talk about an impactful frag.
Yeah.
That one. You don't need to kill the other 4 because the goal, the objective, will not be met while the clock is still running and then eventually hits 0. And that's a heartbreaking round for Fnatic, but as you said, it's their own doing because of their sluggishness and the speed at which they were able to take control and then translate that towards the actual site.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I was primarily paying attention to DZ, seeing if they lost any players there because they were the more important, like in that situation, if they had lost players, then they would have lost the round. That was kind of the situation. That's what we were facing. I didn't actually see if Fnatic lost more than 1, but it was definitely a really, like you said, impactful frag. It's an interesting setup here from Fnatic, or rather DZ, and it was based on C4. You could see that Hot and Cold had a C4 pre-placed underneath printer or paper, some like to call it, whereas BC and Hotton were holding the Soda Wall hard. Hotton's going to have to rotate because of the Habana Excaros that just got used, but he's not going to fully fall off. It's again, a very interesting setup from DarkZero. The repel in from the Habana is heard, but not punished. And Hotton's going to actually start getting aggressive. This is very dangerous the way he's playing this, but he knows no one's on that paper repel anymore because the, again, the repel was heard. Such an aggressive hold from DarkZero overall. I mean, look at the way that Nyx is trying to hold on to this front office. He looks away at the wrong moment there. He might have gotten punished from the Thatcher, but not the case.
Hyper and BC both getting juiced up from the dog. BC falls to Magnet as the ARX does quite a bit of damage there. Nyx is in trouble as well, so he'll just try to hold off. This is going to be dangerous. That's a bold play from Hot and Cold, and he just loses it fair and square to Virtue as Nyx heads off. He'll try to get back to site. Fnatic managing to dig themselves out. So far, it was a 4v5 that has now become a 4v3 in their favor. But once again, the clock will be their adversary. 30 seconds to go. They have control the eastern side of the building. Continue to move on up from admin. They'll have to get past Nyx on spiral stairs. Hyper tapping away as the smoke will cut off his line of sight. Doesn't know if there's somebody out on the balcony. That might be a toxic canister that actually misses, and amidst the smoke, Hyper gets a lucky kill. He goes fishing, Nyx gets one as well. And now the pendulum swinging back towards DarkZero. They're gonna go dark all over Fnatic as Lusty, the last alive, with the match on the line. He's not gonna have time, and it's Nyx to secure the North Americans onto the winner's bracket. DarkZero, what a performance. They'll push Fnatic down into the elimination match tomorrow, while Fnatic will await the winner of FaZe versus Force. And until then, DZ, what a celebration, and what a victory over Fnatic.
Yeah, DZ, a really decisive one, I have to say. Fnatic over 2 maps got 5 rounds. That's a lot less than you expect.
That's very disappointing for a team like Fnatic, one that is consistently rumored to be or listed amongst the best teams in the world. 5 rounds is not what you want to see, especially when people have leveled what I think to be very valid criticisms of DarkZero's performance on LAN. Well, they looked just absolutely dominant